everyone. Welcome back to Women's Yoga with JD. Today, our sequence is going to be focused on the ovulation phase of our cycle, which is kind of our peak. Before the hormones start to dip down again, we move into our luteal phase, and then menstruation follows. So this is internally known as our summer. It's when we tend to be most open, expressive, confident, full of energy. However, we're layering on to that the outer season of winter, and winter is the opposite of summer. It is cold and contracted and dark and internal, whereas the ovulation phase tends to be like the maiden, like in our fullest vitality. The winter is our elder crone, our wise elder. So they're very different energies. So we're kind of working with these opposing energies in this season. So I think it can be really helpful in this season to heat the body as we're not too overheated, whereas like in menstruation, we're already pretty internally warm. We can create some heat in this winter season, but we're going to do it in a very slow and grounded way. So I like to think about it as like coming to sit by the fire and just placing your hands by the fire and getting nice and warm and cozy. I would love for you to have some props available just to make your body more comfortable. So if you have blankets, bolster, a couple of blocks, that's great. If not, grab a couple of pillows, a stack of blankets, some books that you can use in the place of bolsters. One thing I would love for you to have today is a strap. So if you don't have a yoga strap, go ahead and grab a belt. That'll work just fine, or even like a long enough towel so that you can wrap it around the foot and within arm's reach get to it. And that's just really going to help us open up the hamstrings and the pelvis today where we start. So go ahead and grab what you have, put something nice and cozy on. I'm going to start the practice with my wool socks and probably take them off after a while once we start moving. Feel free to diffuse some oils, play some nice music that feels however you want to feel today, and we'll get started. Okay, so like I said, we're going to start lying on our backs today. So you can have the strap handy or your dish towel or towel, whatever you have available, and go ahead and recline onto your back. And just take a moment here to allow the body to settle into the earth beneath you. Taking a few breaths and just checking in. Let wherever you were coming from before this go completely and come into this present moment. What I would love for you to do is, as you begin to breathe and settle in, just rate your overall energy on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being very low, little energy, don't want to move at all, 10 being full of energy, wanting to get up and run around the house. So just let your body settle in first and then do an honest check-in with your energy. And allow this energy rating to influence how you move through today's practice. If you're feeling lower energy, slow down. Take more rest. If you're feeling full of energy and really want to move, go ahead and do the full practice, and maybe you want to add in some vinyasa. That's fine. Just honoring the energy and not needing it or wishing it to be different than what it is. Okay, enough talking. We're going to bend the left knee into the chest and just hold it here for a moment. Really allow the lower back to sink into the mat. I've mentioned this in the follicular phase video for winter, but the organ of the winter that we focus on, especially in traditional Chinese medicine, is the kidneys. So being on our back like this and putting some pressure on the low back can be really stimulating in a good way, nourishing for the kidneys. Good, and then taking the knee out toward the armpit. And keeping it there, reach for your strap. You don't have to have it in a loop. You can have it completely open. And you're just going to wrap the strap around the arch of the left foot. And when you're ready, begin to extend that left leg as straight as it's willing to go for right now. And then walk your hand up as high as it can go. Just beginning to stretch into the hamstrings. foot is nice and flat, pointing up toward the sky. And that right arm can be out to stabilize you a little bit more. And I'm feeling this through my whole back, my whole spine. I don't know about you. Good. Take another inhale here, and then as you exhale, begin to open that left leg, again, as far as it's willing to go. So maybe you stop here. Maybe it goes a little further. Not forcing it, just letting the leg decide how far it wants to go. And once you've found kind of a sweet spot for that left leg for now, just check in with your right hip and energetically try to move that right hip down into the earth so it's not rolling off the mat. Good, good. Inhale the leg back up to center. We're going to switch hands. So the right hand is taking over. And we're going to extend the left leg across the body. So again, only as far as the leg wants to go. And you might find as you hold it, it goes a little deeper, kind of moves in increments. So just allowing the body to open at its own pace. Let it decide. Good, and then inhale back up to center. Go ahead and bend the knee, release the strap off of the left leg, and then extend it out. And just notice the space in the hip that you feel, space in the pelvis on this side. I can feel blood rushing into that area now. And notice how different it feels from left to right. We're going to bend the right knee into the chest and hold it here for just a couple breaths. Feel free to roll the ankle, stretch the toes. And when you're ready, taking it toward the armpit. Good. And then extending the leg just a little bit. And wrapping the strap around the arch of the foot, holding it with the right hand. Extend the right leg as straight as it's willing to go, so that may be here, maybe here, here. And then just walking your right hand up as high as it can go. And giving it just a little pull, a little tension, so you can really feel the leg bone connecting into the hip socket. Good, and then when you're ready, begin to extend it out to the right. Again, we don't want that left hip to lift up and roll over, so only going as far as you can keep the back flat. Keep stretching out through that left foot, grounding through the left leg. Good, and then inhaling back up to center, switching your hands, taking the strap with the left hand, and coming across the body now. Again, moving slowly. Try not to flop over. If that happens, that's okay. Just come back to center and try again. And you can use the weight of that right shoulder to hold the back mostly flat. It's going to lift, of course, a little on that right lower back. Good. Really sending some blood, oxygen into the pelvic area. And then coming back up to center. Bend the knee slightly so you can remove the strap. Extend through the leg and send it down. And just take a moment to revel in those open hips. This is a great series of poses to do after you've been sitting at a desk for a long time, or sitting most of the day if you've traveled somewhere. We'll bend the knees into the chest and gently rock back and forth. Good, and then start rocking forward and backward. And start small. And when you're ready, rock all the way up to seated. And we'll come into all fours position. I'm going to roll my sleeves up here. And I'm actually going to take my socks off because we're going to start moving a little bit more. So if you have socks on, feel free to take them off so you're not slipping and sliding around. And then finding tabletop position and steadying yourself, grounding in. And once you feel rooted into your foundation, you can begin to move. So inhaling, opening the chest, and exhaling, turning in. So this movement is called cat-cow. Inhaling, open, and exhaling, rounding like a scared cat. Good, just gently warming up the body, slowly creating heat from the inside out. And if this forward-backward motion is feeling really good in your body today, feel free to stay here. Otherwise, you can begin to move in a circular motion, or even a figure eight, if that feels good. Don't worry about the perfection of the shape, just intuitively moving in a way that feels good and opening for the body. And then if you were going in a particular direction, let's switch directions now. Good, and then steadying ourselves and taking the knees nice and wide, pressing back to a child's pose. Little brief moments to check in. Maybe you check in with that energy rating once again and notice if it's shifted at all, if it's going down, slow down. If you're getting more energy, great, stay right where you are. And then rolling back up to hands and knees position. And we're going to get a little fiery with the core. So extend that left leg back, right arm forward. Feel free to hold it here, or you can begin to move with me on the breath. So inhaling, reaching through both ends. Exhaling, crunching toward the center. Inhale, extend. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, extend. Exhale. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, contract. One more. Exhale, in. Extend out, balance here. And then send the hand down, send the knee down. And feel free to shake it out, shake the hips out. And then we'll find our tabletop once again, and other side. So extending the left arm out, right leg back. And just finding your balance here first. And if balance is just totally not happening today, that's fine. Just place your hand down and you can just do the action with the knee. So finding your balance first, inhaling, lengthening, and exhale, contracting. Inhale, extend. Exhale, contract. Inhale, extend. Exhale, draw in. Inhale, reach. Exhale, draw in. And inhale, extend it out, hold. Keeping the spine nice and long. And then placing the hands down. Whew, good. And then just take a couple of cat-cows. And move around. Move that heat throughout the body. Good. And then finding your steady tabletop position once more, walk the knees back, tuck the toes, and press up into a down dog. So lifting the hips straight up toward the sky. The outer arms are turning inward toward the body. Shoulder blades are rolling down the back. And you can keep a bend in the knees if it helps you send the hips a little higher. And maybe begin to pedal the legs out. Good. Just warming up the calves, the back of the legs. And really putting a little bit more intention and effort into our warm-ups than we might have to in the warmer months. Good, and then taking the feet about hip width, a little bit wider if that feels more spacious for the hips and the pelvis, and settling down dog. So maybe you're noticing that even being still, but holding a pose for a little bit longer is heating. It generates heat in the body. We'll inhale, look forward, and exhale, begin to walk the feet to the front of the mat, hip widths apart. Inhale, extend the spine halfway up, and exhale, fold. Again, inhale, extend halfway, and exhale, drop in. Inhale, lengthen the spine, and exhale, fold. Now hang out here in the fold for just a moment, and you can bend the knees and rest the stomach on the thighs. Grab the elbows, and just let the upper back fully extend, lengthen out. You can even bounce a little bit, shake it out. Good, and then find steadiness, root into the feet. You can even envision that at the core of the foot, there's a root going down into the earth and planting you into its core. So you're steady, you're rooted. And then slowly rolling yourself up to standing. Good, finding Tadasana, mountain pose. So taking a moment to allow the blood to move down from the head into the feet, really rooting in, grounding in. Good, and then we'll inhale, reach up, open the heart just slightly, and exhale, fold. Inhale, come up halfway, lengthen, look forward. Exhale, place the hands, step the left foot back behind you, and just take a moment here to kind of rock back and forth in this runner's lunge. Good, just kind of stretching it out. And then we'll bend the back knee and come into a low lunge. So if you're on a hard surface like me, you might want a pillow or a blanket beneath your knee back here to support it. Sending that right hip back, left hip forward, squaring toward the front of the mat, and then extending through both arms. Good. We'll just bring a little bit more heat into the pose by moving the arms. So on an inhale, we'll draw the shoulders down the back and lift the heart. And then exhale, come back to steady low lunge. Inhale, draw the arms down, lift the chest. And exhale, come back, low lunge. Inhale, extend through the arms and begin to draw the shoulder blades down the back, open the heart, lift the gaze, and exhale, low lunge. Good. Placing the hands down, step back into plank pose. We'll pause here in plank just to set our foundation. So balls of the feet are planted, fingers are spread nice and wide, shoulders right over the crease of the wrists, drawing the lower belly up into the spine. And pausing here, just noticing how this feels. I'm noticing some shaking. Definitely my body is generating some heat. But keep in mind we don't want to overexert ourselves. So when you begin to feel fatigued, just drop the knees down. And we're all going to come to the knees right now anyway. Knees, then chest, then chin. And inhale, extend onto the belly. Coming into a baby cobra and holding here for a moment. Lift the right leg up, extend it back. Lift the left leg up, extend it back. Good. Unclench the glutes and see if you can extend forward through the spine. So the goal again isn't to get high, it is to lengthen. So how far forward can you move the upper torso? How far back can you move the toes? Stretch that spine out. Good, one more breath here. And exhale, come down. Back to hands and knees, tuck the toes, down dog. And just settle in here. tip the toes to the front of the mat. Inhale, come up halfway, lengthen. And exhale, draw in. Keeping the feet rooted and steady. Rise up, reach up. Gathering fresh new energy, potential, possibility, and drawing it into the body. And then coming to Tadasana, mountain pose. Inhale, reach up, open the heart space, open the front body, and exhale, fold. Inhale, coming up halfway, lengthen, stretch the spine. Exhale, place the hands and step the right foot backward this time. So the right foot is back, left leg is forward. We're just going to rock it out in this runner's lunge. Good. And then when you're ready, drop the back knee down and come into a low lunge. So we'll take a moment to set our foundation, drawing this left hip back, right hip forward, square toward the front of the mat. Front foot is still planted and rooted. Back foot can be somewhat rooted as well. And just finding some steadiness. Good. And from this steadiness, we can begin to find some movement and expression in the upper body. So inhale, drawing the shoulders back, opening the chest. Exhale, low lunge. Inhale, draw the shoulder blades down the back and open the heart like a cactus. And exhale, come back, arms reaching up. Inhale, draw the shoulder blades down, open the heart, lift the gaze. And exhale, hands back up, low lunge. Drop the hands back down onto the mat and step the left foot back into plank. And take a moment here just to rock back and forth and see if you can find your center, your median point. That point of equilibrium where you feel equal weight in the hands and the feet. Good. And you can either take knees, chest, chin like we just did, or take an inhale and slowly lower all the way to the belly. Good, and from this flat belly, inhale, roll up into a cobra, and exhale, fold. 2 more like that. Inhale, reaching out, stretching through the spine, and exhale, lower. Inhale, slowly rise, reaching out, shoulder blades down the back, and exhale, lower. And coming back to hands and knees, tuck the toes, and press up, down dog. And just use this as a check-in point. Feel free to rock the hips from side to side, bend the knees, shake the head yes and no if you feel some neck tension. Take a few clearing breaths, especially if you feel any emotional energy moving through. And then inhale, look forward, and exhale, begin to walk toward the front of the mat. Planting the feet, inhale, come up halfway, lengthen, and exhale, fold. Good, inhale, rolling all the way to standing. Reach up, lengthen up, and exhale. Draw the hands into heart center. Good, and we're going to take a little time out here for some balance. So I'm facing you. And for this one, you actually might want to be next to something steady, like a pillar, a wall, something that's not going to move on you. And we're going to come into tree pose. So this is just some practice for leading up to where we're going next. But I'm going to start with the left leg bending. So right foot is going to plant into the mat, and I'm going to begin to shift all my weight so that foot gets really heavy. And then I'm lifting the left foot, and the left bottom of the foot is either coming to the ankle or the shin, or if it's willing to, all the way up to the upper thigh. Good, so just not on the knee. We don't want this left foot on the right knee because that puts too much pressure on it. And then we're going to squeeze the right thigh toward the left foot and vice versa. So we're creating this strong contact. Good, and then once you feel steady in the lower body, you can do something with the upper body, right? So hands can stay on the hips, hands can come to heart center, hands can come straight up. Good. Just working on some balance for some extra grounding and rooting. If you want to take it to the next level, you can close one eye. Maybe you close the other eye for a second and see how different that feels. Good. And coming back down, taking a moment to shake out any tension. And we'll do the other side. So rooting into that left foot. And again, if you want to be next to something steady, you can. Begin to shift your weight into that left foot. And then as the right foot feels light, you can come to the ankle, the shin, all the way to the upper thigh. So just finding the position that feels most open and free in your body today. And once you feel rooted, you can begin to work with the arms. So if you need to pull the pillar or the wall for balance, you can move one hand on the hip, one hand up. That's perfectly fine. If you want to try bringing the hands away, go ahead and do that if you feel steady. And you can experiment with closing the eyes, really get the balance going. And when you're ready, slowly come down, or not slowly, just catch yourself. And we'll come back onto the mat. Coming to the front of the mat, feet about hip width apart. Inhale, reach up, open up. And exhale, fold. Inhale, come up halfway, lengthen. Exhale, step the left foot back behind you and turn the foot so that it's parallel to the back edge of the mat. Coming up into warrior two. So the front heel lines up with the back arch of the foot, or it can come a little bit closer to the back heel if you want a little bit more space. So front knee is bending right over that second toe. Watch that this back thigh doesn't sink down. It's going to want to lift it back up. Good, and then extend the arms out. Lengthen through the spine. Good. And if you want to, you can take the gaze over the front middle finger. And I already feel the heat building in my legs, so standing poses like this are very heat generating. That's why we don't usually do them while we're menstruating. Good, let's take an inhale and come into reverse warrior. Stretch through that right side body. And then exhale, side angle. So that right forearm can come onto the shin. And as you feel ready, sweeping the left arm over the head. And if you feel like you're ready to go a little deeper, that right hand can come down to the outside of the foot. Feel free to use a block here as well. Still pulling that right hip back foot grounded, and then twisting open through the chest. Maybe you take that top arm and wrap it around the back, just to open the heart a little bit more. Good, and then looking forward, we are going to experiment with coming into half moon. So we're going to step that back foot in just a little bit. That right hand is going to come about a foot in front and to the right of the front foot. And then you're going to kick off with the back foot. So maybe you stay here today. Great, awesome. Maybe you begin to open through the chest just like we did in side angle and extend through the top arm. Now, this is also an awesome pose to do up against the wall. So the wall would be right behind me and I would be flat against it. It can be really supportive, because this pose is awesome at opening up the pelvis. It can even be a pose that we do during menstruation to relieve cramps. And I've held you here long enough, so I'm going to come down, extend through that back leg, and drop the back foot to meet the front and fold. Inhale, come up halfway, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, reach up. And exhale, come back to heart center, come back to this present moment. Brand new beginning. Releasing the hands down, staying in integrity with the energy rating that you gave your body today. Inhale, reach up, lengthen up. And exhale, fold. Inhale, come up halfway, lengthen. Exhale, place the hands, step the right foot back behind you, coming into warrior two on the left side. So take a moment to find your footing, find your foundation. It really does make a difference as far as the therapeutic benefits of the pose. Not that this is an exercise in perfection at all, at all. We're just aiming for finding a solid foundation. And then finding some steadiness, let that heat build. Campfire is getting warmer, it's getting bigger. Reaching through both arms, lengthening up through the spine. And then flipping the palm of the left hand and extending it over for reverse warrior. Good, and then extending forward, side angle pose. Again, left arm can be on the shin, or on the thigh, sorry. Then extend the top arm overhead. Settle in here. Give that left hip a chance to warm up, open up. And then if you feel ready, you can extend that left hand down outside of the ankle. Good. Keep pulling that left hip back, dropping into both feet, twisting through the torso. Gaze is up toward the ceiling, but if that's too hard on the neck, just look down. And you can take that top arm and wrap it around the back for a little bit more heart opening. Good. And my left leg is baking pretty good. It's fully cooked. We're going to come into half moon. So stepping that back foot in just a little bit. Extending that left hand out in front of me, about 6 inches, 6 to 12 inches, and off to the left. And then I'm going to lift that back leg up. Maybe I stay here today. Great. This is a perfect place to practice some balance. And then when I feel ready, my hip begins to open me. And I can extend through that top arm maybe, reach through that back heel. It can also be helpful to have a block underneath this front hand. Bring the floor a little closer to you so you don't have to reach so far down. Good. And this is a pose that's like a gamble. Some days you can stick it, and some days you're falling all over the place, so that's totally fine. And then drop that arm down, extend through the back leg, stretch it out, and drop the back foot to meet the front, coming into a forward fold. And inhale, come up halfway, lengthen. And exhale, stay low, fold. We're going to heel toe the feet out wide. And slowly begin to bend the knees, drop the hip bones, drop the sit bones, and come into Malasana, yogic squat. Good work. Please continue to honor the energy in your body today, because if you move with that energy, it will be like kindling, and it will spread your fire, it will expand your vitality. If you don't, if your energy's at a 2 and you come at your practice with a 10, it's just going to burn it out. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, you can take the hands down and slowly come onto the sit bones. Extend the legs out in front of you. Wiggle and shake them out. And we'll do a little bit of that lymphatic massage that we did in the follicular phase. So just beginning to gently tap the neck. Good, and then starting on one side, so I'm going to start on the left side. You can karate chop the trap. And slowly pat down the arm, up the inside of the arm, karate chop. Pat down the outside of the arm and up the inside. One more time. Good, and then lifting that left hand up. I'm going to hit underneath the armpit, put the right hand, and then slap down the side body. Just really getting the circulation going, especially if it's harder to sweat really well at this time of the year. And we'll switch to the other side. Sweating can be so helpful for detoxification and our immunity. So this is another way to get at circulating, moving the lymph, boosting our immune system. Lifting that right arm up and hitting underneath the armpit. There's a huge gathering of lymph nodes there. And then slapping down the side of the body. Good. And just letting that left hand that's doing the slapping be nice and limp and loose. Good. And then let's gently tap up above the adrenals, down the kidneys, and you can hit a little harder at the sacrum, the lower back. Good, and then just hitting down the outsides of the legs, coming around the feet and slapping up the inside. Good, and then just brushing the energy out so you've got fresh, new energy, releasing the old, stagnant, brand new. Just take a moment here to check in. Notice how you feel, notice what your body is asking for, and can you honor that? See if there's any final movements or patterns that the body wants to express before coming into a final resting pose. And for Shavasana today, in honor of the kidney support that I was talking about earlier, I'm going to place the bolster underneath my knees so that my low back can come nice and flat onto the mat. I'm going to cover up the body with a blanket. This can be really key in the colder months, just keeping that warmth that we created so it doesn't leave the body so quickly. If you want to put some socks on or a sweater, go ahead and do that. And then just settle into your final resting position. Check in with the breath. And gently begin to scan down through the body, starting at the crown of the head, and sending a white healing light down through the crown of the head, allowing it to soften away any tension in the muscles of the face, the neck, the throat. Gathering up any stagnant energy in the shoulders, around the breasts, the pecs, the underarms, the abdomen, the mid-back, the lower back. Hips, the sacrum, running this energy down through the legs, softening, allowing the body to be heavy and still. You've done the work, you've created the kindling, and we're just letting that fire of vitality burn. As the energy moves down through the body, all of the old stagnant energy pours out through the bottoms of the feet into the earth. And the earth is the great transmuter. It takes that old stagnant energy and turns it into new, reusable energy. So run as many cycles as your body feels like it needs, as your energy feels like it needs. touching into vitality. And allowing that vibratory frequency to expand throughout your whole being. Just letting it be. And staying here for as long as you can. And when you feel ready, you can begin to wiggle the fingers and toes. To slowly move the body subtly. Taking some stretches, some intuitive movements. Repatterning the body, teaching it that it doesn't have to jolt up, that you can move slowly, you can move with intention, and you can maintain your peace. Rolling to the right side. Slowly coming up. Or not. You can stay lying down. And just take a moment to place one hand over the heart, one hand over the lower belly. Check in with your heart. Check in with your womb space, your seats of power, intuition, ancestral wisdom. Feel free to ask any questions that are arising and receive any messages moving toward you. You are grounded. You are strong. You are steady. You are vibrant. And you can carry this with you wherever you go, through whatever you're being exposed to. Keep that light alive. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. Namaste.